Are you living your life with a sense of joy and wonderment? Do you see the magic and beauty in everything around you? Are you excited for the little things? Or are you too busy to notice what's around? Are you too busy to have fun? To be childlike? To be excited? We're forced to grow up way too early. From a young age, it's like, don't do that, you're childish. You need to start acting like an adult. And then when we become adults, we're told we have to be serious. Don't act so childish. We have to be a certain way to fit in. But this is bullshit. And this is another way of kind of wounding our inner child. Because our inner child thinks, why am I being told to shut up? Why am I being told not to have fun? Why am I being told not to play? This can add to suppression of our authentic selves, suppression of who we truly are. It's time to start living our lives with the confidence of a 4-year-old wearing a Batman t-shirt. My name is Angela Cleary. I'm a feminine empowerment coach and I specialise in healing after narcissistic abuse. Inner child healing is so, so important. Most of our lives, our decisions are based on our inner child wounding, on our inner child trauma. And inner child trauma doesn't have to be from specific abuse or abandonment. It can be just from the fact that we were forced to grow up too quickly, forced to suppress our fun side. And that's the thing, when we start to heal our inner child, we start to live in that joyous wonderment state again. We start to live with a love for everything in our lives. We start to live with this childlike energy, this excitement. And that's beautiful. We're forced to become adults too quickly, and we're told to grow up too quickly. We're told that you have to be a certain way because you're a certain age. This is fucking bullshit. We're allowed to be children for our whole lives, and I'm never growing up. Never. We're embarrassed. We're embarrassed of that side of ourselves because we have to be a certain way in front of our peers, in front of our family, in front of our co-workers. And we never actually show our true selves. We're covering ourselves with a mask, this persona of what the world expects us to be. But when we suppress parts of ourselves, this leads to kind of dis-ease within ourselves, this imbalance. When we live with this, magic, and this is the beauty of spiritual awakening and inner child healing, is that you start to see the world differently again. And you start to live within your authenticity. You start to live like a child again, a child in an adult's body. But this is a good thing. There is nothing wrong with being childlike. It's not childish. We're not being childish. We're just living our truth. And, I've seen this with people living their authenticity. They're like big children. I'm like a big child. Just fucking, and it's fun. People kind of go, what's wrong with him? Or what are they doing? Jesus, grow up a bit. Jesus, don't be like that. And you're like, hello now. No, I'm living my truth. I'm living in my authenticity. I'm going to be however I want to be. And this is, I suppose, the fun part of inner child healing. When it comes to inner child healing, we have to look back on our past. And this can come from trauma and abandonment and rejection as a child. Or, as I said, growing up too quickly. Especially if you do grow up in a broken household, you are forced to grow up way too quickly. You become a parent early in your life, really, because you have to look after yourself. I was washing my own clothes when I was 12, and when in Ireland as well, you're literally going from primary school to secondary school at 12 years of age, and you're literally going from a child into an adult overnight. And you're like, that's so fucking confusing. And you're told to do different things, and you can't do this anymore, you can't do that. There's so much things that we have to kind of just flip a switch on and literally go from being a child into an adult overnight. And this has a massive effect on our inner child. This is like telling, can you imagine a child in front of you playing, having fun, and you're like, don't do that, don't play anymore, you can't do that, you need to go get a job. And the child is literally going, what the fuck did I do? And that's what your inner child is feeling. If and when you grow up or suppress your childlike tendencies, your inner child is kind of going, what the fuck did I do wrong? And, this leads to kind of a feeling of unworthiness and rejection within yourself. And this is where most of our feelings of unworthiness, rejection and abandonment come from, is the inner child. Your inner child is crying out to be loved and validated the way they deserve. Because through childhood trauma, and like I've spoken about this before, you might have grown up in a happy household as you see it, a stable household, but there is going to be some traumas there. You don't have to be physically abandoned by a parent to suffer abandonment wounds. If your parent wasn't able to be affectionate towards you, if your parent was too strict, too angry, or had a substance abuse issue, anything like that can lead to childhood, traumatic wounding. So this is why inner child healing is so important. Because of these wounds cause us to attract unhealthy relationships. These wounds cause us to, I suppose, go for drugs or drinking or do unhealthy things, because we're unaware. We're unaware of this wounding, and we're unaware of this pattern. So not only, like, with inner child healing, reparenting your inner child is so important. Being that parent that you didn't, being that loving, affectionate person that child needs is the most important step. But the most fun part of the inner child healing is you get to be like a child again. You get to have fun again. And this is the exciting part. Like, you're bringing your inner child out to play. This is a really good form of inner child work, inner child healing. There is, when it comes to inner child healing, there is that hard part. There is that deep, deep dive into those core wounds. There is that release, that healing, that refacing the trauma so you can let go of it once and for all. And that's the hard part of it. But when you actually reparent your inner child, you get to have fun. You get to be a child again. You get to express yourself in fun, exciting, adventurous ways. But you get to see life in that sense of wonderment, that childlike wonderment. You know what I mean? Like, and that's with spiritual awakening as well. But isn't it like so boring to live like an adult all the time? To do adult things all the time? Like, we can make everything fun, yes. But if we suppress our inner child or our childlike energy, life is fucking boring. It's like, oh my God, I have to do adult stuff again. But why not just do adult stuff like a child? Like, I used to, for years, I didn't bake because it was too messy. I didn't do gardening because it was too messy. And this was kind of, and I didn't draw because it was too messy. This was kind of this thing in my head that, when you make a mess as a child, you get reprimanded. You get given out to. Clean up that mess. Whereas when you're an adult, you get to make all the mess in the world and no one gives out to you. So this is fun. And I love baking now. I love doing gardening. I love drawing. I love watching cartoons. And that's another thing. Like, I was in a relationship, a narcissistic relationship in my 20s. And he was 17 years older than me. And I wanted to watch this cartoon because I love fucking watching cartoons. And he was like, you can't do that, that's fucking childish, grow up, like. And I stopped watching cartoons. And I was only after 8 years of this, being an adult or being an old man, because I was fucking dating an old man, that it was after we broke up that I remember, like, yesterday, I put Toy Story on the television because he wasn't there. We were still living in the same house when we broke up. And I was just like, oh my God, I love watching cartoons. I love watching cartoons. And, there's this part of us as well. It's not even just hiding this childlike part of ourselves from people. We actually hide it from ourselves. Because I remember even when I was younger, and I think this is to do with religion, because like I grew up, I was Catholic, I was born Catholic. I'm not religious anymore. I'm a spiritual being living a human experience. And that's another story. But like, literally, we're meant to fear God from a young age. So literally, you know, you're afraid to even do things behind closed doors. You're afraid that, like, you know, somebody might see ya through the fucking walls. Do you know what I mean? It's this mentality of, like, you know, we can't even be childlike on our own, because what if somebody's watching through that fly on the wall or something? Do you know, this kind of fear is in us to actually be our childlike selves or be our authentic selves. Do you know, and this suppression is very unhealthy. Be you. And being you means bringing your inner child out to play. Because we're, as I said, we're forced to grow up way too fucking early. No. Like, you know, and this comes into my head as well. Like, you know what? Women who get into the wrong relationships try to change his man and fit him into their box and tell him to grow the fuck up. Isn't it better to have a parent who is fun and childlike and will play games with the child than being too fucking serious? So, like, you know, isn't it better to be childlike instead of being forced to grow up like? You know, isn't it better for a child to have a parent who wants to sit down and play Lego or something, rather than fucking sit there watching the news and fucking drinking beer or something? Isn't that better? Do you know what I mean? Like, why are we being forced to suppress, I suppose, the deepest, most truest parts of ourselves? You know, when we live in that wonderment, like, you literally get to see excitement in everything. You know what I mean? You get to see joy in everything. You get to feel the optimism about everything, because you're literally living with that fearless energy of a child. You know, and instead of being so serious and mundane and fucking black and white all the time, we can make everything into fun. You can make everything into a game. And I've done this with household chores as well. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I started to play games doing the household chores so that, like, I'm actually enjoy doing them, or they're not as fucking boring. You know what I mean? And, like, this is fun. Why can't we do this all the time? Why can't we do this with everything we do? And that's the beauty of bringing your inner child out to play as well. It brings out your creative side. And you can actually bring such magic into the world through your creativity. You know what I mean? And we suppress that part of ourselves. And, like, you know, I've had adults tell me, like, oh, I'm not that creative. We're not creative as adults because we stop too young. We're told to grow up so quickly that we stop fucking playing. We stop drawing because we don't think we're good enough anyway. And it's like, oh shit, we have to go get a job. Do you know? So we think we're not creative, but we don't give ourselves the time to sit down and have childlike fun. Like, bring me to an amusement park or to a playground. Give me a slide any day of the week. I will be that big child in the middle of everything, because it's freeing. It's freeing to bring that side of yourself out to play. So this is actually such a good method of inner child healing that isn't the deep, heavy, you know, introspection. This is a way of nurturing your inner child, reparenting your inner child, while living in your authenticity. So you're literally getting the best of both worlds. You're doing that inner child healing to come into this loving energy within yourself, while having fun. Whilst having fun. Do you know what I mean? Like, seriously, we live so serious, like, you know, with a serious mind on us. Like, we're so fixated on the college, the job, building the house beside your mother, fucking having children, getting married, this kind of fixation, this your world revolves around getting to this end goal. But when you're trying to force yourself to get to this end goal the way society wants it, you're literally living in this miserable cage. And that's what it is. You're living in this cage, and your inner child is screaming just to have a little bit of fun along the way. Like, why does everything have to be so fucking serious? We have, like, live every day as if it's your first day, as if you're getting to see the world for the first time, as if you're getting to do these things for the first time. You know what I mean? Life is short, and we're living this boring cycle to get to an end goal that society picked for us. Fuck that shit. Live with adventure. Live with excitement. Do you know what I mean? Live with just live with that pure, fearless wonderment of when you were a kid, when nothing could go wrong. You know what I mean? Climb those walls. And that's the thing that I started doing as well. Climbing walls, climbing trees again, literally just rolling down hills. That's my favourite. You know, and I go into the cinema. Like, if I go to, I go to cinema on my own, and I would like literally sit there going, at the big screen, because it makes me feel like a child again. And I always tend to watch cartoons when I go to the cinema because I just add to that fun. But literally, like, to not be an adult for a few minutes and literally live life like that 4-year-old with the Batman t-shirt on. You know what I mean? Just I can fucking do anything kind of energy. This is what we should be doing. Because like, if we live like this as well, our lives will flow so much easier. When we bring creativity, passion, love, excitement, joy into our everyday tasks or our everyday lives, it just brings more colour to it. It brings more excitement to it. Brings more love to it. And it's not fucking boring. And don't be afraid to watch a cartoon. Don't be afraid to say you like watching cartoons. Why are we so quick to hide these parts of ourselves? You know what I mean? I'm going to be a child forever and I don't care what anyone fucking says. I am not growing up. I will do adult things. I will be a professional. But I will live life with this joy. Because it's magical. Like, literally. And like, you know, this is... I keep just thinking how wonderful life is because I live in this childlike energy. And it's not childish, as I said, it's just joyous. And it's who we are authentically. And as I said, when we live in our authenticity, this is when our inner child can come out to play. And it's really, really good for your self-worth, your self-esteem, that inner child healing. It's one of the best tools we can use to reparent and relove our inner child. Literally, be a child. Bake, make a mess. Do gardening, make a mess. Draw on the fucking walls. Who gives a shit, like? Do you know what I mean? Be creative. Do you know, write that book. You know, write it with a sense of joy. You know, draw the things that make you feel good. Be a child again. Be you again. Be the person you were before the world conditioned you to be a fucking robot, living a life on the society's terms. You know, bring that sense of joy out again, that sense of wonderment out again. Bring that inner child out to play. Bring you out to play again, because that's who you are. You know, that fun side, that authentic, that quirky side, that's who you really are. This person, this persona, this mask that you're putting on to fit into this society, to do what society wants you to do, that's not who you are. That's not who you really are. And when you bring this creativity out to play, you get to see who you really are, which is magical in itself, because you get to rediscover those lost parts of yourself. And your life will start to look colourful in all aspects. And you will actually end up bringing more results into your life when you live with this kind of joy. There'll be less struggle. Things will flow more easily. And you know, even if things go wrong, fuck it, you're having fun. You know, and everything can be fixed anyway. You know, so it's just, why not? Why not continue to be childlike for as long as possible? Watch those cartoons, do that drawing, go to the cinema and watch a cartoon and live, you know, be in joy. Go to the playground, go to those amusement parks. Just don't ever lose that part of yourself. Because when we lose sight of our inner child, that's when we lose sight of ourselves. That's when we lose our self-worth. That's when we lose our confidence. And that's when we lose our self-love. So finding and meeting your inner child again, reparenting your inner child, but then playing with your inner child and being that fun version is a great way to do that inner work and to do that inner healing. So bring your inner child out to play. Bring you out to play. Have fun and look at the world through the eyes of a child. So thank you so much for listening today, and I really hope this resonates. If it does, please like and share, and please subscribe to my channel so I can reach as many people as possible. And if you'd like help on your journey, please book me for a discovery call today, and I would love nothing more than to help you on your path.